Hello everyone, I'm FARMERSIM and welcome back to Pallegney. I do hope you're all doing very, very well and having a great day. So I'm cracking on with the mindset of trying to earn as much money as possible just to increase that bank balance, because there is a couple of things I still want to invest in. Initially, first and foremost, as a result of getting rid of the Claas tractor a couple of episodes ago and replacing it with this, quite frankly, gorgeous F140. Or was it last episode, actually? Forgive me, I'm not too sure. Can't remember. Been to sleep since then. But yeah, of course, as a result of doing that, the one thing that we haven't got the ability to do anymore on the farm is pick anything up, pallets or big bags or anything like that. The Claas had the front loader attachment and all the equipment to go with it, and we can no longer do that. So I did mention that one thing I do need to keep my eye on, consider investing in, is some form of telehandler. Now that's a big investment, especially on a little farm like this when the bank balance isn't particularly massive. So it's involved a little bit of thought. Now thankfully, very recently, in the last couple of days or so I think it is, the ARM team have released a handful of mods on the mod hub. One of them being a wonderful John Deere baler pack, square baler pack, which is obviously suited to more of an American farm, but yeah, they were around in FARMERSIM 22 and they're just a cracking set of mods. But the other thing that they have released is a wonderful little skid steer. Now, like I said, I was looking at telehandlers, but the cheapest one around was about 90 grand, and that's a Merlot. And I did consider that, but it's 90 grand, plus all the attachments that I'll need to buy in again as a result of it. You know, I'd be looking at north of 100,000 euros, and obviously at the minute we are, you know, we're at just over 115,000 euros, which is great, but I don't just want to completely empty that immediately on just buying a load more equipment. So this particular skid steer, it kind of combines the best of both worlds in respect of skid steers and telehandlers. Yes, it's still small and it can't, as far as I'm aware, I haven't tested it yet, I haven't even bought one or looked at it or even, you know, examined it in any real detail, but as far as I'm aware, it can't tow trailers. I might be wrong with that, but we'll see. It can't tow trailers, but what it has got is an extendable boom, so it can potentially stand the chance of being able to load a trailer with manure, for example, using a bucket. I might be able to reach onto the high shelves over there, but that's neither here nor there, because we now have this wonderful big bale and pallet storage system here on the farm, so I'm not too bothered about that whatsoever. But generally, as a rule, most skid steers do struggle to load from the ground into a trailer just because they do have a very short reach. This one has an extendable boom like a telehandler does, so I should be able to load into my trailer with manure, for example. But obviously it's a cheaper alternative to purchasing a telehandler. So it's at the minute it's 58 grand, so basically 60 grand if I equip it with some beacon lights and a chunkier set of tyres, for example. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to invest in that. We will need to spend also about 7 or 8 grand on the various attachments that we'll need for it as well. But having that on the farm will enable me to lift big bags, feed the animals, lift bales, pick bales out of a field with a bale grab, etc., etc., load up a flatbed trailer with all the stuff we need to do. So that's great. So that's what I'm going to do. But first and foremost, what I am going to do, because another thing that did cross my mind, I've been doing a lot of thinking about this off camera, as it were. We now have 2 tractors, as you know, the 2 Fiat Agris. We've got the whole set, as I titled the last video in. And I did toy with the idea of getting rid of one of them, this one. But it was just an idea, it was just a fleeting thought. But there's kind of no point. It's only worth about 20,000 euros. I don't really want to break up the set because they do look great on this farm, let's be honest. But they both do the same thing. There's a couple of horsepower difference between them, but neither of them have a front loader attachment. They both, like I say, they can both do the same thing. So that's where I kind of thought, well, do I get rid of one? And then I thought, no, I'm not going to get rid of them, of one of them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it to work as often as possible. So today, like I said, the plan is we're going to take a trip to the shop in my I was going to say shiny new F140, but I'm just going to say my new F140 because it's far from shiny. We're going to take a trip to the shop with the trailer. We're going to do this TELESKID purchase, get the handful of attachments, and we're also going to, initially, we're going to focus on topping up the animals with food for the winter. We need to buy a handful of big bags in of pig food, for the pigs, of course. We need to top up the cows with a load of TMR out of the mixer. The chickens are all right for feed at the minute. They're still quite full, and their rate of eating is relatively slow. So I'm not going to spend any money on them just yet. The sheep and goats could do with a couple more bales. Again, they're all right, but I'm just going to focus on topping them up as best as possible with a few bales that we've got in our storage up here. Now, regarding pigs. I've never ever done pigs before in Farming Simulator, literally, not once. So I'm vastly inexperienced when it comes to farming and keeping pigs. Now, because of the amount we've only got 30 animals, 30 pigs at the minute. And when it comes to their food and profit, because obviously you breed pigs for profit, there's nothing else we can do with them in the game as of yet, apart from fatten them up, let them grow, you know, get bigger and fatter and healthier, and then sell them on and potentially make a profit. Obviously, when it comes to the food that you feed them, you need to give them a mix of grain and protein and root crops, etc., etc. Now, if we grew all those particular products on our farm, that would involve a vast investment, wouldn't it? If we wanted to feed them potatoes or sugar beets or, you know, any of the other bits and bobs that you need to feed them, we would either have to lease or own the machinery to do, and the land, of course, to do those crops. And the investment needed in, you know, sugar beet machinery and potato machinery and stuff. Yes, there are a couple of cheaper options, but generally, as a rule, you need some big, expensive equipment. And we don't have that at the minute, obviously. It's only a small farm. And so when it comes to cost to profit kind of thing, I'm assuming, in my naive little mind, that it is, for me, and the number of animals that we've got here on this farm, it's essentially, it's going to be, the best course of action is just to buy in the bags of pig food so that the pigs get a good range of their proper food. Because if I just feed them just grain, they're only going to get a percentage of the total amount of nutrition and food that they need. If I feed them just root crops or just this, just that, they're only going to get a percentage. So the best thing for me to do, I feel, unless I'm completely wrong, please let me know in the comments, but you know, is just to buy in the bags of pig feed, and then they get, it's ready mixed, so they get a percentage of everything, but it equates to the 100% that they need, and they'll grow and get healthy in that way in time, and I'll be able to make as much profit as possible from them in that respect. Does that make any sense? Because I'm, like I said, because I'm new to pigs, in my mind, with the quantity of animals that we've got, it makes sense to do that. Now, obviously, if you had a much bigger farm and you had hundreds of pigs, you know, a proper big pig empire going on, then you justify the big expensive machinery, assuming you had the ability to plant and harvest and farm the products needed to feed a pig, you know, separately, as it were. But on this little farm, you know, I had no intention of buying pigs initially. It was purely because, as I'm sure a few of you are aware, if you've watched the previous few episodes, it was purely because of the introduction of these gorgeous buildings by MA7. You know, it came as part of the pack, as it were, and I was like, well, that's a beautiful building. I want that on the farm, so I'm going to have pigs, aren't I? And because I've never done them before, it was like, well, it's about time I did. So here we are. We now have pigs, but I need to learn along the way because, like I say, I have never, ever done them before in Farming Simulator. So it's about time I did. So, anyway, forgive me on a bit of a tangent there. But yeah, what I'm going to do, as much as I can in forthcoming episodes, I'm going to put this tractor to work. So as you can see, I've taken on 2 contracts. They're both cultivating contracts. They tend to be, for me anyway, with the limited amount of machinery that we have on the farm, they tend to be the best way to earn money. Now, one of them is paying, Field 26 is paying just under 10,000 euros, 9,900 and something. And Field 76, at the top there, is paying just under 20,000 euros. So we're going to do that one ourselves. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a worker off, essentially, to do the cultivating contract in Field 26, and I'm going to try and do this as often as I can, just to bring in some money and get this machine earning for us in the background as we dither around and do other things on the farm. That's my idea. So essentially, if I, you know, throw this off on Courseplay and Auto Drive for an hour or so, it's going to bring in 10,000 euros. So it seems, in my mind anyway at the minute, like a no-brainer. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. We've got the cultivator attached. Quite simply, I'm going to bring up Courseplay and Auto Drive. Now, what I'm going to do in respect to the wages, because depending, even if I dial the wages of Auto Drive and Courseplay down to 50%, it's still massively generous, I feel, when it comes to paying the workers. And I feel it's overly generous to the point that it becomes charitable to a point. It just costs too much money. So what I'm going to do, I've thought, is in real life, if I was to hire a farmhand to go and do a job, for example, and I said I'll give you 600 euros for the next couple of hours work, that seems reasonable in my mind, I think. So what I am going to do is I'm going to pay each worker roughly about 600 euros. That seems fair, don't you think, ladies and gentlemen? I think 600 euros, $600, quid, whatever, That seems about right. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to manually remove that money from the bank account every time I set a worker off and do it. So I've set Courseplay and Auto Drive's wages to 0, so I'm not being overly charged too much money. And I've already set up the course, so what we're going to do, I'm going to go into the menu here, we're going to go to our fields, field 26, cultivator, load course, tickety-boo. Yeah, we're going to tell it to start at the nearest waypoint. I can then get rid of that, and then we go to Auto Drive. I highlight Courseplay, so Courseplay knows to take over when Auto Drive has got to its destination. There we go. I'm going to jump out. He's going to get gone now. I'm just going to watch him out the gate, because I know that depending on the tightness of the circle, you see he's going to turn there. And he's going to score. He's scored a big mark in my door, hasn't he? There you go. Right. So he's off. He's going to earn us some money. So that's absolutely brilliant. It makes sense to me, that. It really does. Again, tell me if I'm wrong in the comments below, ladies and gentlemen, but that seems like a sensible thing to do. Just get the tractor earning for us. It's only worth like 20,000 euros, that tractor, so it's not worth selling. So the concept that I had before of getting rid of it is just nonsensical. I may as well just keep it and get it earning as much as possible, because at the minute I can't get enough of this beauty. It is an absolute stonker of a tractor, quite frankly. Love it, and it suits this farm down to the ground. So right then, so while he's off earning, we're going to go and spend a bit. Like I say, I'm going to hook up the flatbed trailer. This is probably going to require a couple of trips, because what I'm going to do is I am going to purchase a handful of pig food bags. We're going to purchase possibly 1 or 2 bags of chicken feed, maybe just 1 for now, because they do go through relatively slowly. And I'll go out this way as I'm doing it manually. And then we're going to get back to the farm. We're going to load up the cows with as much food as we can, because there's a good 100 and odd thousand litres of TMR in the mixer there. And so yeah, essentially just prep the animals for winter, make sure their troughs are completely full as much as possible. And then, once we've done all that, and I'm happy with where we are, ready for the cold snap, as it were, over the next couple of months for the animals, we'll again, hopefully by then, the other Fiat hired helper will have finished that job. We'll have an extra 10k in the bank, and just pull out on me, mate, it's alright, after you. And yeah, then we'll be able to crack on our own and get the cultivating contract done in field 76. And like I said, that's going to be worth just under 20,000 euros. So we're going to be spending probably about 60,000. No, sorry. We're going to be spending, I don't know exactly, no, probably about 80,000, I think, off the top of my head, without doing full mathematics. But, right. Let's go to the dealership. Go into the menus here. I want to go up to skid steers. Where are we? Now, I very rarely use skid steers in Farming Simulator, let's be honest. Now, I know we can buy this one at 35 grand. That's considerably cheaper, but like I said, the difference between all of these ones and this one is that this has the extendable boom, which I think would be a very helpful thing to have on the farm. So, and it's a lovely little thing, don't you agree? Now, I'm going to spend an extra 1,000 euros on a set of chunky tyres, just because I do prefer chunky tyres. We're going to give it beacon lights at an extra 250 quid. We don't need to worry about forestry grids or protection grids on the windows, or even both, even though that does look pretty mean, don't you think? That looks proper, you know, apocalypse spec skid steer, doesn't it? But we're just going to keep it standard for now. I don't need to customize the colors or anything. So 59,250 euros. Boom. There we go. Right. So that's awesome. We've got ourselves that. Right. Now I need to come out of here and I need to go and purchase a handful of bits of equipment. So we do want to book it. I don't necessarily need to buy that now, but whether I do or not, I'm not too sure. So we need a bale spike. We'll get that. There we go. Can we equip it in JCB yellow? Is that going to cost us any more money? I don't think we've even got JCB yellow on the farm. Have we got... Oh, we have. There we go. Is that going to cost us? No, that's not going to cost us, is it? Brilliant. We'll have that in yellow. Thank you very much. There we go. Might do that with all of them, to be fair. Pallet fork. We need one of those. Yep. Or whether let's do that one in black. Or onyx black. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. bit of variation and all that. So there we go. Lovely stuff. Pallet fork, bale spike, and we do want a wrapped bale handler as well. That's for sure. We'll do that one in JCB. No, we'll do that one in black as well. There we go. Right. Sound. Lovely stuff. So that'll do for now, I think. I don't need to worry necessarily right this second about getting a high dump bucket. And I do also need to load these bits of equipment onto the trailer and have the space. I might need to do a couple of trips as well, because I do need to, like I said, I do want to purchase some multiple bags of pig feed, one bag maybe of chicken feed, so just to make sure that I don't clog up the sale area. How cool is this? This is an awesome little thing. So right, let me just do my usual of amending the FOV to a more suitable angle. There we go. This is nice, isn't it? Right, first and foremost, the thing I am very keen to see is its reach. There we go. There we go. There we go. Oh, it's not too bad, is it? Admittedly, I know it is no telehandler, but that'll definitely tip into my trailer. So that's pretty handy. That is pretty cool, let's be honest. Right. Okay. So I do need, but like I say, it doesn't have the option to equip any kind of towing mechanism. But you wouldn't really necessarily tow with a skid steer anyway, would you? Let's be honest. So I'll take one of the implements back with me, and we'll load up the others onto the trailer. Right. Oops. Just scratched my new telehandler, haven't I? So if we pop that there, disconnect that. Thank you very much. Let's bring it in a bit. That's not. It's not very safe, is it? There we go. Disconnect it there. That'll do. That'll do. The wrapped bale handle looks like it's the biggest other bit of equipment there, so we'll hitch up the bale spike there. Hopefully have enough room to stick that right on the back here. There we are. Just give myself a bit more visibility. I hope this isn't going to topple off. No. Excellent. That'll do for me. That will do for me. Let's bring that in. There we are. This is a nice little thing. I reckon this is going to be pretty good on the farm. So yeah, I'll be able to go out into the fields and pick up my own bales and load up the trailer. Yes, I will. I'll have to do it with two vehicles. I'll have to have the tractor and trailer in the field. But it's still a good idea, I think. It'll still get the job done and saves a good chunk of money when it comes to the difference in cost between one of these and one of the cheapest telehandlers. So, right, so we're at 52 grand now. Yes, I know that. We're dropping down the money, but potentially we're going to have almost 30 grand come into the bank as a result of the couple of contracts we're going to do, so that's still pretty decent. So now I need to purchase, I do need to spend a bit more money now on some pig food and a bag of chicken feed. So where are we? Animals. Bum, bum, bum. There we go. So how much pig food do I need? In fact, let me just have a quick check of that first. Let's go into our animals section. So sheep, we'll sort them short right to the pig. So at the minute, the total effective total capacity is just under 7,000 euros. 7,000 euros, 7,000 litres. So 8 bags for now will be more than enough, because it'll take into account all of these as well. So yeah, I think that's we'll buy 8 bags of pig food, and that's going to cost £8,000 euros. So, and I think you pretty much get 1,000 litres for 1,000 euros, don't you? Depending on which ones you go for. You go for any of them. I know I've got the liftable pallets. I know I could do that cheating in a way with super strength and not, you know, not spend 50, 60 odd grand on equipment to lift things that I could do myself doing a cheating method, but I don't want to do that. I do want to do things properly, as it were. So pig food, let's go for them. We want 8 in total. That's going to cost 8,000 euros. Brilliant. Purchase that. Thank you very much. Nice. Right. And I have just realised, like a complete fool, that I've loaded the pallet fork onto the trailer first. Should have done that second. Right. Give me a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to faff around with this, and I'll pick you all up back at the farm in a few moments' time when we're ready to feed the animals. Right, on our way back to the farm now. The Fiat has took off ahead of us with the trailer. Set him off on auto drive. Obviously, he's considerably faster than we are here. I'm just going to trundle this back at a relatively modest 12 miles an hour. Now, it does... don't get me wrong, I know these skid steers do have their limitations in comparison to a telehandler. Obviously, the one thing I have just experienced when it came to loading up the big bags onto the back of the trailer, as you can see, I've got the tines on my pallet fork spread pretty wide, as I'm used to, as I'm sure we all are when it comes to telehandlers and stuff, lifting 2 bags at a time with the forks. And it can do it, it did do it, but there's probably too much weight on the front of it, so it did start to feel, or it did once or twice, it kind of tipped itself over on its front wheels, bringing its back end right into the air. You do have to keep the weight as close to the cab as possible. So in reality, you know, it's not going to be able to necessarily pick up 2 bales like the Claas used to be able to do, because it just doesn't have the mass behind it. But that's fine, you know, its limitations are what they are. The idea isn't to get things done as fast as possible. Farming isn't, you know, it isn't that well. You don't do that in farming, do you? You don't rush things in that respect. It's not about getting the bales picked up as fast as possible or moving stuff about as fast as possible. It's about getting the job done and hopefully at the same time making $1 or 2, or in this case €1. So, right, here we are back at the farm. So I'll show you what I mean when it comes to the weight of putting 2 bags on the front of this thing. So it will be a case of, I think, in the future being a bit sensible and doing 1 bag at a time. But let's get everything unstrapped, sorry, there we go. Our new implements, there we are, lovely stuff. And we'll grab 2. I hope I've got enough, given myself enough room, but I suppose that's one of the many benefits of having a skid steer, is you can literally turn on the spot. Look at that. It's got such a small footprint. You can manoeuvre these things in the smallest of spaces. So let's line ourselves up there. There we go. And get as far forward as possible. Let the bags slide right down. Come on. Give them a jiggle. There we are. Bring it away and drop them down as fast as possible. And let's go and see how far this food goes. So we've got 2,000 litres in bags in front of us here. So be careful not to brake too sharply as well, because it will just do a bit of an endo, as it were. Right. Hey up, piggies! They are the cutest things ever, aren't they? Let's be honest. Right. Let's get this food loaded in. Oh, there we go. Well, that was easy, wasn't it? Done. So, let's have a look in our menu. There we go. So, 8,580 litres. Great, okay. That was easy enough. Well, I think I can manage doing these 2 bags at a time now, can't I? And then we will focus on sorting the cows out. We'll grab a couple of bales, take them over. In fact, that'll be a good test for this thing as well, won't it? Grabbing a couple of bales at a time. Seeing if we can just run them down the road, a couple at a time, hopefully. But if I have to do 1 at a time, so be it. Like I say, it's not about rushing the job, is it? There we go. So I'm not actually too sure of the exact quantity. There we go, 10,500. So we're not too far off. Yeah, I'm not too sure of the full quantity that this pig barn takes. Look at that as well, though. We're 42% through the cultivating contract already. I think that's a really good idea, don't you, guys? Getting the tractor just earning for us in the background. Not doing a good job of that one, am I? There we go. Pick up, slide them down. Come on, bit of a jiggle. There we are. That'll do. This is a pretty awesome bit of kit, I've got to say. I'm really quite happy with this. There we go. Where are we at now? 12,580, okay. Well, they'll have taken the whole 8,000 litres, which is fine. And if we have to get more in the near future, so be it. But like I say, I'm not obviously being as inexperienced with pigs as I am. I don't know how fast they're going to go through the food. Where are we at height-wise with those tines? Yeah, because I haven't spent so much time doing pigs at all in Farming Simulator, I have no idea how fast they go through the food. I'd imagine it'd be quite quick. Pigs are hungry little things, aren't they, let's be honest. But we shall see. All in good time. Right. And that appears to be them. Full. 14,000 litres the barn takes. Right, okay. So what's this litrage-wise now? 581 litres, so just over half a bag. Right, okay. Well, what we can do with this now is pop it nicely and neatly into our little bag system here. Bale and pallet system. Not going to load up. I am within the trigger there, aren't I? Come on. There we go. Oh, I was only a couple of feet off. Right. That'll do. Right then. Oh, well, while I'm here, we'll dig out a couple of grass bales. I need to remind myself where the trigger is here, actually, don't I? So bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Go to settings, general settings. Just turn on the triggers very briefly. Where are we? There we go. So I want 2 round bales of grass. That'll do. To start off with, we'll go and trundle them round to the goats and the sheep. We'll grab our... I know we could do this with a bale spike, but we'll have a go with the wrapped bale handling grab, as it were. And see if I can see. We'll see what happens. See if I can pick up 2 bales in one go. I think I might be being a little bit too adventurous with this, mightn't I? But we shall see. There we go. I don't actually know how heavy they are in comparison to bags of feed, so we shall see. But what I do need to do is close the doors. We don't want our little piggies to escape. There we go. Right. You have got to be proper careful and, you know, not too sudden with the steering on this thing, because it's it turns on a dime, doesn't it? Right. Oh, no. Let's not do that, shall we? Bad idea. One at a time, methinks. That's better. Yeah, keep it as low down as possible. Yeah, that feels much better, and I think that's going to be the case with big bags as well, and it just do one at a time. No need to rush. Right. Get ourselves out onto the main road. Don't want to get beeped at by these angry French drivers. Oh, need to see where I'm going, don't I? Right, so I shall dither around for the next few minutes and top up the goats and the sheep. By that point, maybe the cultivating contract might be almost done, because for us to crack on and carry on with our contract, we need that cultivator back. So I shall get this done, and I'll pick you up very, very soon. Right then, so that is the pigs and the goats and sheep completely full of food, and I think that we can hear our other Fiat trundling past. That's that contract done. Where are you? There he is. So, let's turn that contract in actually. Get that one done. So, where are we? Contracts, active, completed. Boom! Thank you very much. €9,904 back in the bank, so that's great. But I am having a bit of an issue feeding my cows. I was just topping them up with a trailer or two of Total Mixed Rational. I was trying to, and I can't. Because for some reason, the tip trigger is just not working anymore. It works in a tiny, tiny little place. Now I had to... What I've done is I've just kind of bought in a ready mixed bag of TMR just to test this. This has been after several minutes of trying to find the tip trigger with my tractor and trailer. And yeah, for some reason, and I'll demonstrate it to you now, it doesn't work. It did previously when I've had this trailer from the very beginning and I've been able to feed them up to now, and I don't know what the problem is, but essentially, as you can see, if I walk along here, you'd expect the bag to at some point start emptying, and it just doesn't. The tip trigger isn't even inside the it's not inside the barn? Did that just tip then? No, it didn't, did it? It's, yeah, it's... Oh, hello. It's kind of right there. Very, very close. But as soon as I come away, there you go, from the fence, it stops tipping again. Now, I've only actually been able to get the trigger to work with the trailer when the trailer is backed up right against the fence, as in facing outwards, facing the wall over there. I can't pull alongside lengthways here like I used to be able to do and just tip. So the problem is, when the trailer wants to tip and empty, it tips up and it hits the barrier here and pushes itself away and loses the trigger. There you go. So the trigger in a couple of places is right up but close to this fence. I don't know what's caused that. Whether the latest update to Pallegney or something that they did with this in the latest patch they did to fix the manure problem, I don't know. I'm not aware of an update to Pallegney recently, so yeah, I'm a bit stumped for that. So I might have to do some fettling off camera in the XMLs and stuff, and just factor in a quantity of TMR that we've got in the trailer, and then manually add that into the XML. I don't know. I'm just going to have to think about things. Fortunately, at the minute, the cattle have got food in there. I did obviously want to top them up for winter, which I'll figure it out somehow. There's a way. There's always where there's a will, there's a way, as they say. But anyway, yeah, that's a bit frustrating. So I'm a bit stuck for what to do with that one. If any of you do have any tips or tricks for me, please let me know in the comments section, ladies and gentlemen, because I will be vastly appreciative of any help there. I'm a bit stuck for that, and like I say, aside from doing something in the XML and getting that sorted, I'm not too sure what to do. But anyway, so for now, we're going to jump in this one for now because the cultivator is attached, so we may as well go and carry on and get this final cultivating contract done. This is the big one in field 76. We should have enough fuel. We've got half a tank. I'm sure we'll have enough fuel in this thing here. There we go. We do have to pull out wide onto the road there because the length of this cultivator hanging off the back does bash into the walls when you take a tight turn out of that archway out of the farm. Anyway, right, so like I said, sheep and goats are completely full. The pigs are completely full, so that should be them sorted for the next few months, I suppose, I hope, through winter. I'm trying to rack my brains as to what to do about that cow tip feed trigger problem, but within my bag of talent, there's not much I can do really, like I say, apart from just go into the XMLs off camera in the when the game's turned off, and I don't know, just manually increase the number of food that's currently in that barn if I'm able to do that. I don't even know if I can do that. So anyway, we'll sort it. So the sun is still out. It's a gorgeous day. We'll finish off with a nice contract, spot of cultivating. I think we'll pop a bit of music behind this job. It's a relatively big field. I think we have worked in this field before. I think, if I remember correctly, I think it was a spraying job we did in this field. I think, if a good few episodes ago. But it's just through the viaduct there, on the right-hand side. It's a decent-sized field. Goodness me. What on earth was that? I wasn't too close to the wall, was I? Deary me. I was off in a world of my own then, wasn't I? Right, so, yeah, like I say, I'm going to crack on with this contract, throw a bit of music behind it, and I'll pick you up when the job is done. There we go, job done, and I tell you what, I will never tire of the views on this map. It is absolutely gorgeous, it really is. The viaduct there always plays part in a bit of a vista on this map, doesn't it? It pretty much appears in every view that you've got, but it is a wonderful thing, I've got to say. Makes some gorgeous vistas. But anyway, sorry, right, so job done. Almost 20,000 euros earned with that job, so let's turn that one in there. Very good. So the bank balance has come back up a little bit again, which is great. I know I've spent a bit of money today, obviously on a bit of new kit, but I do feel it was necessary, and I appreciate there was a little bit of faffing around over the last few episodes, you know, selling tractors, getting rid of something that we kind of needed, and then replacing it with something to replace that task again. But there was kind of method in my madness. It did make sense in my head, and obviously as a result of it, we now have a pair of gorgeous Fiat Agri tractors, and we now have the capacity to lift pallets and big bags, so that's all good. We've also, obviously, as you know, we've fed most of our animals. I still don't know what I'm going to do about the cows in respect of getting them fed. I just don't know what to do about it, really, unless I just try and, like I said before, fiddle around in the XML. Perhaps I'll have a look into that. But like I said before, if any of you do have any solutions for me, if any of you have experienced a similar problem, please do let me know, because I will gladly listen to any helpful tips and tricks you might have for that particular problem. But for today's episode, I am going to call it here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. I really do hope you have enjoyed the video and found it a little bit of fun. As always, if you're new to the channel and you like my content, you like the way I'm doing things, please consider hitting that subscribe button and jumping on board, joining the channel. Please give the video a like if you can. It does do wonders, helps the YouTube algorithm do its thing. And as always, there are a host of links in the video description below with my Giants Partner promo code. If any of you are in the market for purchasing Farming Simulator 25 and you like the idea of supporting the channel and helping out a creator, as always, I would be massively appreciative. And also, if any of you are in the market for an online server to play with your mates and you like the idea again of supporting the channel, but also like the idea of a 10% reduction in the cost of that server, please consider using my G-Portal affiliate link, which again will be in the video description below. Any help and support there also would be massively appreciated. So, thanks again for your time again, ladies and gentlemen. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.